We recently launched a protein powder for rotis. Every roti will give you an additional 5 grams of protein.
How did you all land up on Shark Tank?
We were very keen to go onto the platform, obviously, because for young brands like ours, it's a great opportunity to get the right visibility and get mentorship from the sharks.
The category of nutrition, fitness, which is absolutely blowing up in our country today, how did you build the differentiation?
What actually differentiates our product is there are three things.
Okay.
First is the clean nutrition.
So how did you come up with the powder and things like that?
We actually did a lot of research around it because we wanted something which can easily slip into your food.
Correct.
And जिससे कि मतलब बच्चों को पता भी नहीं चल रहा है कि क्या डाला.
And there's no taste.
No taste, no smell, no color change.
One of the big learnings, even after spending 25 years in, marketing, was, you can never stop learning about your consumer.
How do you move the consumer from buy once to a habit?
We obviously have a very strong CRM strategy through which we, kind of reach back to the consumers.
What is the most popular format according to you, which is working for you?
The videos work the best. And then we also tried.
Give me a campaign that you all might have executed and how did it do?
A lady is mixing Good Monk in the milk. And it was like easily mixing nutrition into your food and drinking that. And that really flew.
One thing that you would never add your nutrition mix to, Sahiba.
I think it's tea or coffee.
Why is that?
So I would never mix it with tea or coffee because
Good Monk is
खाने में mix करें, nutrition fix करें.
Oh my God, you're like in unison on this one. Hello and welcome again to the iconic brand stories where you get to meet founders and marketing heads of different brands that are making news for some reason or the other. Today, in the studio with me is a couple that I found on Shark Tank. Yes, Shark Tank nonetheless. And what got my attention was that they were dressed in absolute Punjabi attire, ready to do the bhangra. But guess what? They were selling a nutrition mix that is so easily added to your food that it's a category breaker in itself. So, in the studio with me, Sahiba and Amarpreet from Good Monk. Hello and welcome.
Hi Tina, thank you for having us over.
Hi, Tina. Glad to be here.
So, what happened? How did you all land up on Shark Tank?
We were very keen to go onto the platform, obviously, because for young brands like ours, it's a great opportunity to, get the right visibility and get mentored from mentorship from the sharks. So, yeah, I mean, we went through the regular process of applying and getting shortlisted, etc., one round after another, after another kind of a thing. Yeah.
I think Bangalore has quite a few now who have made it to Shark Tank for some reason or the other. What convinced you all to wear this attire and things, and why did they dress you all up like this? And you agreed?
So actually, this was our own idea of dressing up very differently from what normally people wear. Like they will always go in their normal casual attires or their brand t-shirts or
Colours
dresses.
or
So, but
something.
what we wanted to be different so that it stands out and it catches attention, and that actually did.
It actually
It
did.
did,
So that
yeah.
was that was a good one. What happened after Shark Tank? How did it help your marketing journey? I want to know that.
Shark Tank was a great platform for us in terms of getting the right visibility. We saw a lot of organic traffic coming in and looking at our products. We saw in the following weeks the demand actually increased, sale really increased quite appreciably. During that time, we also had our teams really geared up with a lot of further stuff to amplify Shark Tank. So one of the learnings was not just don't wait for just the Shark Tank impact to be there. How do you leverage that visibility and extend it? Over a period of time. So the teams did a really fabulous job on that. I think the other big thing the team did was, because the demand goes high, so they really prepared the inventory and distributed it well in time across
Well
multiple
done.
platforms.
Well done.
Yeah.
So आपको पता था when it's going to go live.
We have a tentative idea, but you really don't know till almost a week before you are
You are aired.
you are aired, right? So yeah, it's a very short notice. So you have to kind of be prepared for that 90 days. It can happen, in 5 days notice anytime.
But that's a beautiful experience, and I'm sure if there are a couple of other, these kind of peaking moments, you would absolutely be game for taking those, right? Because of what it did for you at that point in time. But let's go back. पहले बताओ, how did you come up? ये गुड मंक के नाम के पीछे क्या है?
सो हम लोगों ने जब डिसाइड किया कि ये मतलब हमारा न्यूट्रिशन ब्रांड होगा एंड इट वाज ऑल अबाउट स्मगलिंग गुड न्यूट्रिशन इनटू फूड
I love that how you say smuggling good nutrition into
Yeah.
food, huh?
So the thing which was there is that we were not हम लोग खाली एक प्रोडक्ट नहीं बना रहे थे। हमें जब हमने ये रियलाइज़ किया कि कंट्री में इतना न्यूट्रिशन का गैप है, राइट? एंड वी एनकाउंटर्ड दिस फिनोमेना कॉल्ड हिडन हंगर कि
Wow.
लोगों में इतना न्यूट्रिशन का इश्यू है, लेकिन उसके सिम्पटम्स अभी दिखते नहीं हैं, तो उनको मालूम नहीं चलता है कि ये न्यूट्रिशन का गैप है। एंड देन धीरे-धीरे करके ये प्रॉब्लम बढ़ती जाती है एंड इज़ अ रूट कॉज़ ऑफ मल्टीपल हेल्थ प्रॉब्लम्स एज़ पीपल ग्रो। तो वी सेड हमारा जॉब इज़ नॉट ओनली टू सेल द प्रोडक्ट बट आल्सो टू क्रिएट दिस अवेयरनेस कि ये इतना न्यूट्रिशन का गैप है कंट्री में। एंड आई वाज़ बोर्न एंड ब्रॉट अप इन ऋषिकेश, सो आई हैड अ लॉट ऑफ दैट सराउंडिंग्स ऑफ स्पिरिचुअलिटी अराउंड इट अराउंड मी। सो आई जस्ट थॉट दैट मे बी वी आर द गुड मंक इन द न्यूट्रिशन कैटेगरी,
Ah,
जहाँ पे हम लोग अवेयरनेस भी बिल्ड कर रहे हैं ये सब गैप्स की, न्यूट्रिशन इश्यूज़ की। एंड वी आर ट्राइंग टू बिल्ड अ प्रोडक्ट व्हिच इज़ ऑनेस्ट and will really do good for our consumers.
I like that. I think it's a simple name as well. Two simple words, which I often say like Facebook is two simple words, easy to remember. So Good Monk is the name like that. Tell me this form factor of the packaging and what formats it's available in and things like that. Is this an evolving journey, or you always knew that I will make it available in these many categories and so many grammage and the grams and things like that?
I think, Tina, for us, one of the differences was that we never came in category in or product in. Actually, I mean, I mean, if you listen to the product story in the backdrop, right? वो सारा कुछ स्टार्ट ही वहाँ से हुआ कि कंज्यूमर प्रॉब्लम क्या है,
Huh.
राइट? एंड जब वो कंज्यूमर प्रॉब्लम फ्रेम हुई दिमाग में कि भई फैमिलीज़ को न्यूट्रिशन रेगुलर देना मुश्किल है, राइट? एंड क्लीन न्यूट्रिशन नहीं मिल रहा है, एफिकेशियस न्यूट्रिशन नहीं मिल रहा है। So everything in terms of the decision on the product composition, the packaging size, the format, etc., was all driven through
Through the consumer
consumer
need.
lens से।
Very nice.
तो जो सैशेज़ थे वो इसलिए बनाए गए कि अगर आप बल्क पैक दे दोगे पहले दिन से ही, तो लोग कितना डोज़ डालेंगे, कितना डोज़ नहीं डालेंगे उसकी कोई क्लैरिटी नहीं है। तो शायद लोगों को फ़ायदा ना मिले। तो वी सेड कि अगर सैशे रहेगा तो लोगों को डोज़ ऑफ व्हाट दे नीड टू ऐड इट टू देयर फैमिली और किड्स फूड विल बी स्टैंडर्ड एंड स्टैंडर्ड डोज़ मिलेगा तो बेनिफिट अच्छा मिलेगा। सो इट वाज़ ऑल कीपिंग द कंज्यूमर प्रॉब्लम एट हार्ट।
And that's very nice. I'm going to come to that actually, but before that, I want to ask Sahiba, how did you chance upon this idea? I just want to know when you say smuggling nutrition,
Yeah.
where was this born out of?
Okay, so I think that idea of smuggling nutrition, it came very organically to me from my own experience of being a mother. This was all during COVID when my kids were 11 and 13, and growing very fast, and their body needed a lot of nutrition that time. And I was spending a lot of time spend in the kitchen, trying different recipes every day, trying different healthy foods for them every day. And every time I tried that, I was actually I was failing, because they would end up ordering things from outside. So that was actually a very, very disappointing thing for us. And that is when we also saw that, my children were falling ill very often. They were feeling lethargic. They were, feeling tired. And that's when I, started talking to Amar also about it, because we were there at home, and he also started noticing these things. And we kind of tried different supplements, spoke to a few pediatricians also, सब कुछ try करा, products नए different products try करे, like milk mixers try करे, we tried syrups also and all those things. But everywhere it was, they would give those things up in a few days because उनको वो medicinal taste नहीं अच्छा लगता था, या they were loaded with sugar. So that is why they would, have it for a few days and give it up. Otherwise, they would skip their meals because they were loaded, with sugar and all these things. And that is when, something which really shook us was my one of my son was in the bottom 5 percentile BMI uska.
Oh my,
So that is something which
scared
was,
you.
yeah, which really scared us. And then I spoke to a few other parents also, and we found out ki everybody was actually going through the same journey.
Yeah,
Ki,
it's a
yeah,
very real problem.
yeah, yeah. And from there, that insight came कि कुछ ऐसा चाहिए कि which you can just add it to your food, smuggle कर दो, बच्चों को पता भी ना चले, and उनको पूरा nutrition मिल जाए वहाँ से.
So I
Yeah,
really like the way you put it, smuggle into the food.
yeah,
And
yeah,
like I always say in marketing, there are words that stick with you This word smuggle
Yes.
sticks with you, just like,
Yeah.
sales, that kind
I
of.
remember when we pitched it on Shark Tank, Vinita
Yeah.
said, "Wow, this is the revenge on the kids."
Yeah.
Absolutely. Absolutely. I agree.
Yeah.
So, how did you come up with the powder and things like that? Who came up with it?
No, we actually did a lot of research around it because we wanted something which can easily slip into your food.
Correct.
And जिससे कि मतलब बच्चों को पता भी नहीं चल रहा है कि क्या डाला. तो we did a few trials also. We went to a third party agency which helped us develop the product. जिनके साथ हम लोग ने we did actually an 18-month trial before we came out with this product.
How
With
nice.
Good Monk, yeah. So different form factors थे, but हमको ऐसा कुछ था कि जो कि पूरा easily hide भी हो जाए खाने में
So,
और
the
हमको किसी
first,
में भी मिला सकें इसको.
absolutely.
Yeah.
And there's no taste.
Yes.
That's
No
that's the
taste, no
remarkable.
smell, no color change. Like
So
nothing
they don't
should
get to
differ.
know.
Yeah.
Yes,
But
yes.
the magic is that अगर आप हर ingredient लेंगे,
Huh.
every ingredient will have some taste.
Correct.
But the magic of this formulation is that when you mix everything and you add it to food, there is, between two portions of food, one without good monk and one with good monk,
Yeah.
you can't figure it out.
So did you test it on your kids?
Definitely,
Huh?
yes. I think they were our first consumers.
They didn't
And
know actually that there was
Yeah.
something.
I
not
distinctly
yes.
remember,
Ye-
the first time we had the prototype and my elder son came back from school and he wanted some snack. And Sahiba, in the kitchen, first good monk prototype into his food. And we were all watching whether he'll notice or not because he's a fussy eater and he didn't come to know. So we, that day knew that we are onto something very interesting where we can truly, find great nutrition while smuggling into their
But
food.
how did you sample it otherwise? Let me know further. From children to other groups that you sampled with?
In terms of the initial development
Yeah, yeah,
journey.
yeah.
So I think in the initial development journey, we tested out with I would say hundreds of customers, right?
Wow.
But I think what we found that the most sensitive ones were the kids. They were the ones, the elders who had a lot more tolerance towards any change in terms of food, taste, etc., because they could understand that this is healthier. But when it came to kids, right, they were like, nee, boss, this is tasting different than the other. But the most sensitive one or discerning ones,
Discerning
the
ones,
most
yeah.
discerning one were the young kids.
Children.
Yes,
And I'm
yes, yes.
surprised.
Yeah.
Wow. Typically, I would think the children would not be able to figure out what's,
Oh, they're very discerning. Don't underestimate kids.
So, when you're saying it's a game of actually understanding how much inventory to keep in different places and what is the exact targeting that you can do, tell me a little bit about how India is consuming your product.
So for us, non-metros contribute to two-thirds of our revenue right now, and that's growing really, really fast. And I believe that it's because
So I'll come back to what you said.
Yeah.
I like that sachet size because it's also very good for trials, right? I mean, when people are picking it up or buying it for the first time, they can easily use smaller portions and put it in. And then probably just like we go for protein powders and things like that, take it further. So I think this is very interesting as a consumer insight. How did you gather this data from consumers?
as I mentioned earlier, the approach was not to give it as a trial SKU.
Huh.
The approach was that how do we get better portion control and adequate, precise nutrition going into every meal.
That's fair.
So
That's
therefore,
fair.
it was more about precise nutrition. What's the right nutrient levels, right RDA level going into daily meals, which we wanted to ensure. So therefore, we said, okay, we'll have sachet as a format.
Nice.
Yeah.
And that I think what the FMCG companies have started as the sachet shampoos and little oils and things like that is also very applicable to all the other formats today.
Yes.
Yeah.
As new product introduction becomes all the more easier, in fact. My question here is I just really want to understand on the category of nutrition fitness, which is absolutely blowing up in our country today. There are so many brands that are trying to make a mark and trying to, camouflage food with different things. How did you build the differentiation? And, how did you position it?
To be very honest, Tina, uh, this the whole development of Good Monk as a product and how to position it was a process of discovery, right? We never started with, okay, we want to launch this, etc. As Saiba said, it came through a discovery of the problem at home. And then we traveled across the country, spoke to hundreds of parents across both metros and tier one to understand how deep is this problem, what is the kind of format, and whether people are open to something like this. I remember meeting one, mother, and sometimes you meet these consumers who leave a very, strong imprint in your mind, right? I remember meeting her, and I told her that, ma'am, here will be, a nutrition powder. You add it to the food, and nobody will come to know. And she jumped and said, "Sir, this will be magic. I will win every day." right? Because what she told me was very amazing. She said, "Sir, I actually lose on most of the days when I am trying to give, healthy nutrition to my
I
family."
totally resonate with that, I have
Yeah,
to tell you. As a mother, I think we would all want the kids to be able to consume wholesome, home
yeah,
cooked,
yeah,
nutritious food.
yeah, yeah,
But with the advent of so many platforms where they're easily able to order,
yeah,
at the risk of that taste, the trade off is what you're actually putting
yeah,
into your
yeah,
body.
yeah.
So,
So that's where we started, right? And therefore our first product came in, which was about a family nutrition mix, because the insight came from a kids and a family perspective. But the next product which came through, again came through not because we wanted to launch a product. We distinctly remember in the initial period, we would, put up stalls across multiple fairs and, would
pop
want,
ups and
yeah,
things.
pop-ups, and we would love to interact with consumers and get feedback on the concept, etc. And I remember a lot of customers would start to come in and say, "Oh, we bought Good Monk in the last fair, and actually we're giving it to our parents.
How nice.
But we've kept it for kids and family. You are giving it to your elderly parents. What is the insight behind that?" And they would say that my father is a diabetic, he doesn't eat well, or their appetite has gone down, and they're starting to skip meals, and I'm worried about their nutrition. And so we realized that actually that whole nutrition gap issue is also very prevalent in the elderly. And then we started to research about it, and we found that there is a huge issue when it came to elderly
It's true.
nutrition. And the same concept of smuggling was equally applicable to the elderly, because they are also very fussy eaters.
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
true.
Yeah.
That's, I can totally, yes, I get you. I think that's a powerful consumer insight, but that also segments your consumer base into children, families, elders. So, how are you playing to all the different segments? Are you messaging changing? What is the message actually that you're sending out?
So I think from a message perspective, it is all about trying to understand what are the problems which a consumer has, right? And here is a simple, clean, easy, and effective solution to that problem, right? The good thing is that, when you say that we have three different kind of consumer segments, you're right about that, Tina. But I think when you look at it from a shopper per se, right? Actually, we have a very primary shopper which is buying for self, kid, and their parents. And that's roughly around 25 to 45-year-old parents, right? Who are just married, getting into the family way, etc. So they're starting to worry about their kids' nutrition, family nutrition, and they have elderly parents. So from a shopper perspective, we found that 70 to 80% of our purchase is happening with that cohort. Consumer could be different, as you rightly said.
Consumer is different. So, do you serve the buyer today, isn't it,
Yes.
in your messaging?
Yes,
Yeah.
yes. We're focusing more on the shopper,
And who
right?
is the shopper?
So shopper is, as I just
Yes.
articulated, that
Women, men, you
uh,
segment them?
we have actually both.
Yeah.
Both of them are shoppers. Increasingly, what we are finding is that there is a greater leaning in terms of men as compared to
I'm
women.
really surprised to hear this
Yes.
because typically you look at the woman who looks at nutrition and things
Yeah.
like this,
Yeah.
or is it the men who are paying for it? You're not sure about that bit.
Yeah. I mean, what we get from the data
Data that you,
is
yes.
basically who is paying for it. In
But your
term,
targeting is too,
so our targeting is broad.
is broad.
Is broad, and we see that almost 60 to 65% of our spends are actually going for men,
Ah,
and 35% to 40% is for women. And this is also because of the town classes which we are catering to, right? Because I mean, our two-thirds of our business is coming from non-metros. I think if it was more metros, we would have found a greater balance between men and women as
fair
shoppers.
point.
Yeah.
Is this organic data or did you plan for tier two cities?
For us, when we started the journey on the brand, we wanted it to be a mass play, right?
Sure,
We want to impact the health of the larger nation, fortifying everyday meals at a larger context, right?
sure.
In fact, on Shark Tank, I remember saying that our vision is to have 10 rupee sachets, put on grocery stores where anybody can buy and say, "I'll mix it in my food, and my food will be far more nutritious." So that's the vision which we have. So I think what we have done is we've kept the value proposition of the product fairly sharp. So if you were to buy each and every single ingredient separately, yeah, and you buy Good Monk, this is 65% more, cheaper, right? So it is far greater value. It is obviously far more easier because don't have to have those pills, right? And it is clinically proven. And in our content approach, we have tried to keep nutrition easy. So we speak in very, simple regional Hindi languages, right? So that content is starting to work. And I also believe that this habit of people sprinkling good nutrition into their food is actually age old for Indians, right? We are used to sprinkling, haldi into our milk, right? Or adding something to our curd.
Or badam on that halwa or whatever.
Absolutely, right? So we are used to fortifying our food through kitchen ingredients. So I think we believe that Good Monk is almost trying to organize it in a way, a habit which has always been a part of our Indian
And but
culture.
making it convenient in a sachet.
Making it convenient in a sachet and far more clinically backed, science backed kind of a thing. So, and that's why we're probably seeing that kind of a growth even in mainstream India.
So while you're saying this, Amar, we also, what then became the distinctiveness or what is the differentiation? Maybe you want to tell us, Saiba?
Yeah. So what actually differentiates our product is, I think there are three things.
Okay.
First is the clean nutrition.
Okay.
So what you get in the market these days is again, loaded with sugar, preservatives, and artificial
So you all
colors
don't
and
have any of
everything.
no
Yeah,
preservatives.
yeah. So our products are like a clean differentiator in that way. We don't have any preservatives, no sugar, no calories. So they are like very clean products.
Okay.
And second is that they were easy to use. Like we're not asking India, people to change their behavior कि तुम, ये खा लो या ये पी लो, ये कुछ मतलब कुछ और बना लो अपने लिए. We are just asking them to, eat what they're eating, just add it to their food.
Sure.
So it's very easy to use. So that is again, one more differentiator for us. And third, it's again is effectiveness, the most important part, because it is, it shows the results in a 1 month. You'll start to see better gut health, better energy, and of course, it'll improve your key micronutrient deficiencies also.
And
So yeah,
all your products are available on the website,
yes,
goodmark.in?
yes,
Yeah.
yes, yeah,
Okay.
yeah.
On this note, I want to remind you that you're watching Iconic Brand Stories and we're on YouTube, Apple Podcasts, and Spotify. So please press the subscribe button and stay tuned. So quickly, I want to ask you, Saiba, apart from the website, where else are you selling the product today?
So we are available on quick commerce. We are available on marketplaces like Amazon, Flipkart, Swiggy, Zepto, Blinkit.
Oh,
Yeah,
wow. And
yeah.
where does the maximum sale come from?
So the maximum sale comes from website. 70% sales come from the website.
That's excellent.
Yeah, and then the marketplace contributes 25% and 5% from quick commerce. And offline, we're very early right now.
So
Like
when you
we're
say
doing
marketplaces, it's Amazon and Flipkart kind of.
yes, Amazon and Flipkart. Yeah.
Yeah. And quick commerce, you all have just started out the journey.
Yes. Yeah, we
So
just
what are some
started.
of the learnings from quick commerce?
No, so in quick commerce, I think again, all these three platforms are at different stages of maturity and, this thing. For us, the biggest learning is about how do you firstly crack the listing, right? Because
That's true.
there's a large queue of brands which are trying to get in. And because of that traffic jam, cracking the listing sometimes take a lot of time.
Interesting.
Once you are there, I think the main thing to solve for is availability, right? Because the distribution model is so spread out, right? I mean, there's so many cities and dark stores which you can potentially be present in. So getting a good sense of what your demand is and how do you build availability across, which region, which cities to target with. Sometimes you can be very greedy and go too wide and then suddenly burn your hands with, a lot of inventory returning. Or if you go too narrow and you really don't test out. So I would say that the first biggest learning for us was which platform and what's the kind of distribution and inventory we should basically put out there. And we're starting to get some very very positive feedback, so we're excited about the potential.
Very nice. And you ship across India.
We ship across India. Yes.
That itself is a massive one because not everybody is able to provide that. So, when you're saying it's a game of actually understanding how much inventory to keep in different places and what is the exact targeting that you can do, tell me a little bit about how India is consuming your product. What is the differences between North and South and metros, non metros? Some any insights around that would be very interesting.
So for us, the biggest region is the North India, followed by West, then South and East. But we also are very excited with the potential which we are seeing in mainstream India. So for us, non-metros contribute to two-thirds of our revenue right now, and that's growing really, really fast. And I believe that it's because of the value proposition which we are able to offer, the kind of nutrition combination, easy way with clinical efficacy. And interestingly, Tina, what we're also seeing is that 75% of our sales is actually coming from people who are not regular supplement users.
So they're not savvy about health needs and things like that, or not. They've not gone out finding.
I think it's slightly different. I would say they are very savvy in terms of their health needs, but they haven't basically made up their mind to take regular supplements,
Ah,
which are pills and other kinds of powders. So it's about the way you position the category. So we feel that we are building a new category, right, where fortifying everyday food, right, becomes an easy way of supplementing, right, and this since it is closer to their culture, they don't see it too much like a medicine. They see it more like food and nutrition, right? So because of that, I mean, getting 75% of our sales coming from non-category consumers, which is actually the larger TAM, right? Because category penetrations are only 10 to 12%. So actually 90% of the country doesn't consume any supplements, right? So to be able to access that market through a format like this, I mean, that's what is
that's
getting
what
us
your
excited.
that's what your magic moment is. So that's very interesting because I do see there's a lot of either pill fatigue or aversion to pills.
Yeah.
So, and probably that's why you're saying in the older category, because that's where, there you don't know what you're popping. The younger generation is more aware and about the different, formats and things like that as well. I want to ask you on that note, give me a campaign that you all might have executed and how did it do? What was how did you position that campaign?
The campaign which actually did really well was this very simplest of all. That was where it showed that a lady is mixing good monk in the milk,
Okay.
and only that video was shown, and it was like easily mixing nutrition into your food and drinking that, and that really flew. That really did
That's
well.
very
Yeah,
simple. But was
yeah,
there a
yeah,
slogan or a catch line that you all partnered it with?
I think the whole concept was that we were showing people that you can add this so simply into different kinds of
yeah.
foods. And this is filling the gap of your micronutrients, fiber, and probiotic, and is helping you, recover your energy. But the whole emphasis wasn't just showing the uniqueness of the product, which was about when you mix it with food, it just blends in so easily without changing any taste. I think this whole typical ladder, which is about product truth, functional benefit, emotional this, I think what we just realized was that just, at this early stage of our journey, focusing on the real product truth, which was actually the how, just when you mix it in food, nothing changes.
Sometimes, I feel social media throws up these various stunners where you don't know which one will take off and for what reason. But you obviously introspect later and understand this format worked. So, on that note, I want to ask I know you've done influencer marketing, you do reels a lot, you do UGC a lot.
Yeah.
Tell me about a couple of successful influencer marketing campaigns.
So we actually work with a lot of different influencers.
Okay.
So first is the nutritionists, because they are actually our primary influencers, which help us talk about the efficacy of the product, the
Sure.
nutrition gap which people feel, face in their daily meals. Then the second ones are the mothers or the parent creators who are able to relate to the challenges they are facing and how easily it can be slipped into their everyday meals.
Sure.
And the third are these young parents, adults, daughters, sons, podcasters who talk, who are actually giving it to their parents or their families. Yeah,
I
yeah,
think one of the interesting things we also realized in one of the very successful influencer campaigns is that the choice of that influencer was very atypical. We wouldn't have selected that, if the team would have approached me for an approval,
Sure.
to be really honest. And that campaign did really, really well. And it actually came from a very simple insight that since a lot of our growth was coming from tier two and three, how do you basically get an influencer which can appeal to that audience? Right? And we're all used to, we're living in a metro, we're used to seeing certain kind of influences around us. So I think one of the big learnings, even after spending 25 years in marketing was, you can never stop learning about your consumers, right?
Absolutely.
It's just an ongoing process. And so we went back and to the drawing board and said, why did this campaign did so well? And it was one simple insight, because it was appealing to our customers, right? And our TG that much more better. We might not have liked it,
Correct.
but the consumer did loved it.
Absolutely. And spot on, you said it that there is no limit to what you can learn about a consumer because it makes your marketing so much more sharper. Yeah. Any stories of conversion, success stories that you can share that, have you used this in marketing?
Okay, so there are a lot of testimonials which we get that we use as a marketing content.
Okay.
Let me talk about this couple. So the wife uses it for her husband because he's a very fussy eater and he doesn't like to take any multivitamins or supplements. So she, easily slips it into his smoothies in the morning क्योंकि वो कुछ भी उसको पसंद ही नहीं है multivitamins लेना. And she sees the difference in a few days. He comes home, he's very active. Otherwise, every day he would come home and he would feel tired. So now she's seeing the difference in his,
Oh, wow.
yeah.
That easily, but
Yes.
are you using this testimonial somewhere from her or she doesn't want to tell her husband?
No, we are using this.
You are using it
Yes,
Without
incidentally.
obviously telling
yes, of course,
her
of course.
husband's name.
Yeah,
Of
yes,
course.
Because
yes,
the secret will not remain a
yeah.
Remain a
secret.
secret anymore.
Yes,
I
yes.
hear that.
And there's another story I would want to talk
Sure.
about. So this is about 80 plus year old dadi.
Okay.
So this is again in a family, where the grandson who's actually worried about his dadi, she's
That's
bedridden from many months because she's old and she has a lot of illnesses and she's not able to move around. And he sees his ad and again वो भी ज़्यादा कुछ खा नहीं पाती है because of so many issues. She hardly eats anything. So he starts giving this to her in her different like milk में दे दिया या जो भी whatever she's eating, khichdi and everything. And in a month's time, he starts to see the difference in her dadi's health also. She starts moving around in the house, and the whole atmosphere of the house changes because now dadi is active and lively, and the full
I'm
family.
definitely going to get your product. I think for some of the elders in my family, this is a typical use case.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Very
And
good use case.
Tina, I think that is really, I mean, entrepreneurship is not easy, right?
Yeah.
I mean, we all have our highs, but there are more low moments when you're building it at an early stage. So I think this is the fuel. Matlab, the stories which we get from customers and the transformation in their, life and with the elders per se, right? And I mean, we almost feel that we are not in the business of just, product and health, but actually अब घर का पूरा माहौल बदल जाता है. Right? And people get more positive. There are a lot of people who have said, I feel more independent now. Right? For small chores, I had to ask somebody. Now I'm able to do it myself. And that is a very large feeling, and if you're able to contribute even one bit, that's the joy of building, a brand like Good Monk.
Absolutely. No, I think there's a lot there that can be done. So, how many more SKUs are you thinking of launching?
We are not a brand which believes in spray and pray, right? Because I said that, we are building this keeping our own family and kids in mind, right? So unless and until there is a genuine gap in the market which where we can find a clean, easy and effective solution, we don't want to get into that space. So I'll give you an example. For the longest period of time, we've seen, in the last 3 4 years, so much of excitement about protein and lots of protein shakes coming in, and lots of different formats are coming through. And we were very, a lot of people told us, "Yeah, why don't you launch protein? Why don't you launch protein?" And I said, but what is the need of launching another protein brand? There are so many protein brands already in the market, right? Why do I need this? But the day we got this insight, right, is, and I remember this. I was speaking to my parents, and they were here in Bangalore, and they asked me a question that we are thinking of starting on eggs again. So they had turned
Vegetarian.
vegetarian 30 years back.
Wow.
Okay. And they asked me this question saying, कि यार, Amar, we are thinking of starting on eggs. And I said, अच्छा, that's great to hear, but why? So my father said कि यार मुझे ऐसा लगता है कि यार मेरे को ना प्रोटीन की ज़रूरत है अभी, because I'm now 70 plus and I think, if I have more protein, it will help me in terms of my strength and muscles. And I was so excited when he told me this because firstly about his awareness, but also the courage which he showed, right? After 30 years of being vegetarian for spirituality, you want to start, on eggs. Kudos to him. But I also feel that there will be, millions of such parents who will not take that call. Who will not get onto eggs because they feel that protein is important. So that triggered a thought process in our mind saying, okay, what can we do for them? Like, but giving them protein shakes was an impossibility, right? Because they're so heavy, loaded with sugar or alternatives, etc., and so rich in calories. I mean, it will fill them for the whole day,
And not to forget the taste.
and the
Yeah.
taste and the bloating, side effects, etc. So it was I couldn't offer that to my father, right? And then, we were discussing this and we realized, कि यार क्या कर सकते हैं? How can we solve for this problem, which is a genuine consumer problem? No market products are catering to the elderly in terms of protein solution. And that's when we said, okay, why don't we go back to the basics? We always said about smuggling nutrition. So why can't we now smuggle protein, right? And then the whole
So you
concept.
have a protein powder for rotis.
Yeah.
Yes. So we recently launched a protein powder for rotis. And Tina, it is amazing that you can actually mix it with your atta and make, soft
मैं
rotis.
इसको गर्म कर सकते हैं,
Yes,
सेक
yes.
सकते हैं.
बिल्कुल, बिल्कुल, बिल्कुल. आटे में आप डालें जब आटा गूँध रहे हैं आप, so you can add it at that point of time and you can make rotis normally the way you do it. Your rotis will be actually more softer. There is no change in color of the roti and they taste exactly the same. You can't differentiate between two rotis. And every roti will give you an additional 5 grams of protein.
Excellent. Excellent. ये तो मैं ज़रूर यूज़ करूँगी.
Yeah.
I was talking to my daughter yesterday. We were on quick commerce. We were looking through some stuff, atta, batters, and she was finding a protein batter for dosa. And she said, Mama, shall I order this? Because protein is such a high need for everybody today, and consciousness towards it has improved so much. So this is excellent. 5 grams of protein per roti
Per
is
roti.
Yeah.
my
So
protein
please ask
intake
her to
done.
buy this now.
I know exactly.
Yeah. And the
Yeah, so
point is that, that is where when you ask that question, newer SKUs and stuff like that, for us, we are not in a race to launch newer stuff. For us, it is about identifying real consumer needs and gaps in our own families, right? And really offering a superior product to that problem. If you're able to do that, there is more innovation which will happen. If not, I mean, India is a large market, as I said, right? I mean, even from an elderly population perspective, there are close to 250 million elders, right? So there's a large
there's
market,
a large population.
large
You
population.
can.
We'll continue to grow our brands, and we're still scratching the surface right now.
I'm going to come back to these pop-ups that you had said initially, right? There was an interesting way to induce trials,
Yeah.
sampling, etc. Are you doing something unique? Have you done other things? Have you tried out unique things? And maybe you can tell me this about maybe, people at gyms are so conscious of proteins and things. So have you gone out and done sampling there or tried anything unique like that?
So we have actually done a lot of pop-ups for like trials for our FNM, that is the family
The family
nutrition mix,
nutrition,
the
yes.
fruit drink mix,
Oh, nice.
and the healthy 50 plus for elderly. So we've tried all these in different places at different, places where we can, get
Showcase it.
showcase it and get
Sure.
a different kind of people to try it. And we've tried it in different forms, like sometimes in milk, sometimes in pastas, or sometime in different foods like biryanis or something. And it has actually worked well in all
Very
those.
nice.
Yeah.
So you can mix it in a biryani at the end of the biryani?
Yes, yes,
Yeah.
yeah. You can mix it in anything. Yeah,
Interesting. Very nice.
yeah.
So, Saiba, I know you're doing a lot of stuff on marketing in terms of content formats. You're doing carousels, you're doing Insta Reels, you're doing videos. What is the most popular format according to you, which is working for you? And what are the other unique formats?
So right now, the top of the funnel is the videos. The videos work the best, and then we also try GIFs, and then different other formats also we
You're
do
looking
try.
at a whole host of other formats as well?
Yes, yeah,
Okay.
yeah.
Okay. Are you looking at educational booklets and things like that that you're bringing out? Anything around that sense yet?
Yeah, so I think there are lots of ideas in that space right
Okay.
now. Yeah. I think what we've kind of done is that we have a free nutrition consultation for
Okay.
everybody who buys the product,
Oh,
right?
okay. That's very
And
nice.
that's something which we've consciously done because we genuinely want to answer any queries which a consumer might have with respect to the product, or if we have their contact details, we reach out to them for, helping them on in terms of their diet plan, even suggesting them some exercises. Because look, the idea is that,
Very nice.
there is no magic pill in this world, right? I mean, it's all about complementarity of all of these things coming together. So
Well
it's
said.
about the food they eat. You can't have a situation where, we can give somebody a good monk, but that person is eating really rubbish every day and his health will improve. It will not, right? So we feel that there is an opportunity to guide them
Mm.
in terms of the kind of food and exercise and also supplementing how to have good monk. So we have this whole thing around nutrition consultation, which we do.
That's very nice. And that, in fact, was one of my questions, that how do you move the consumer from buy once to a
Yeah.
habit?
Yeah.
And they can probably stay engaged if you're doing various things to keep them engaged through the journey,
Yes.
right? So that's
Yeah. I mean, and on top of that, we obviously have a very strong CRM strategy, right? Through which we, kind of reach back to the consumers through WhatsApp, through emails. The advantage is that our 70% of business is through
through your
website,
website.
right? So we have a lot of data. We are very proud of that. The consumers trust the brand. That's the reason 70% of them are coming back and buying from the website as compared to,
But is
other.
that performance driven, or you're saying that organic rate of return is high as well?
We have fairly strong retention rates,
Retention,
right?
yeah.
Yeah. I mean, obviously in the early stages, it is a lot of that is performance driven too, but our retention rates are very, very strong. So it's also the same customer coming back and buying per se because it's also great discovery, right? I mean, newer formats are coming through, new innovations are coming through, and the kind of support which they get from the nutrition consultation per se, and a lot of evidence based stuff, right? So we've done a product clinical which we recently got published in a international journal. So we have a page which clearly describes the clinical. So we've sent out that information to all our customers, so please come and check the authenticity of the clinical and all the data which is there. So I think there is a constant engagement with the consumers which helps drive them to come back.
We're up to the last section of our podcast, which is Take Five. Quick questions and quick rapid answers from both of you. Yeah. So this is to you, LTV or CAC, lifetime value or customer acquisition?
I mean, any day LTV,
Any
right?
day LTV.
Yeah, any day LTV, because we are building a brand which we want to make a part of consumers' life, right? And it has to be almost like as easy as sprinkling salt. So we expect, few of these good monk sachets to be kept on every Indian household's dining table. And, when they're having their meals, they just, open it up and add it. So it's
So
really,
that's not smuggled. That is actively adding it. That is self.
that is the elderly, they will do it, right? The
Yeah.
elderly will do like that. And, obviously for the kids, that can happen from the kitchen when the
Yeah.
mother can
Yeah.
put it.
Yeah.
So we feel that is almost like staple nutrition. So for us,
Absolutely.
the bigger opportunity is how often are they consume, how often are they using it, right? And, in a month, in a year. So we're really excited about that opportunity.
But there's an idea just there, Amarpreet, where if you could put it in the salt shaker kind of a
Yeah.
format as well.
Yeah. Let me
But
not put this out, but that's work in progress.
oh
Yes.
my God, that's interesting. That's interesting. Okay. One thing that you would never add your nutrition mix to, Saiba.
I think it's tea or coffee.
Why is that?
So I would never mix it with tea or coffee because the product has iron and tea has polyphenols and which changes the color of the product.
When iron reacts with that?
Yes, when the iron reacts with polyphenols, it
So that's a
changes
giveaway
the
that you have nutrition in this.
yeah, no, we actually write it at the back of the pack also that you cannot
Oh, you
add it
put.
to your tea and coffee. Yeah.
Okay, okay,
Yeah.
interesting. Thank you for sharing that. Okay, so question to you. What does Amarpreet love about the marketing of the product?
I think it's the consumer insights.
Well said.
Yeah.
Is that true? Is
Yeah,
it
I mean,
Yeah.
I really love to understand,
Yeah, he's always after, he'll be
insight.
talking to his team or he'll be talking to his consumer, our consumer support model, which they're always talking to the customers. So they'll be, क्या बोल रहे हैं? Customers क्या बोल रहे हैं? मुझे बताओ. What are the
That's true.
where are the challenges they are
That's a
facing?
good marketer.
Yes.
That's a very good marketer.
Yeah.
Always trying to solve for the consumer.
Yeah.
Okay, question to Amarpreet. What does Saiba love about your product?
I think she loves the fact that it came from the insight she had.
I
Right?
tell you.
That, खाने में smuggle कर दो. Right? This was actually when she said this, she said it in a zest, right? Or in a frustrating moment.
और
But
वही आपका मार्केटिंग
वो ही हमारा पूरा
तकिया
प्रोडक्ट बन
कलाम
गया,
बन गया
वो
है
हमारा
Yeah.
स्लोगन बन गया है
पूरी कंपनी बन गई.
पूरी कंपनी बन गई है इंशाल्लाह so question to both of you good monk is
खाने
खाने
में
में
मिक्स
मिक्स
करें,
करें,
न्यूट्रिशन
न्यूट्रिशन
फिक्स
फिक्स
करें.
करें.
oh my god you're like in unison on this one so well done and thank you so much for being here and sharing all those insights and sharing all the wonderful stories of how India has discovered yet another product in your category. I hope you've enjoyed hearing Sahiba and Amarpreet. and listening to the insights from them. I'm very, very happy to know about this product because I, for one, am definitely going to use it. Thank you for being with us. Press that bell icon and come back again to the iconic brand stories. Thank you.
Thank you.